Welcome to this special edition of Feeding the World, Mercosur Business News. Feeding the world means a lot of things. It means food, it means drink, it means agriculture, but it also means identity and tradition. And I was very lucky to come across a very special Paraguayan brand, a brand that was very easily to fall in love with. I found it on Instagram. It's got a beautiful story behind it. Apart from being an exquisite product, it's actually beautiful packaged and it's available for a very demanding export market. But I'm here today in Asunción to tell you more about how, from sugarcane, you can make something so exquisite. And today, we are here with two very special guests. One is Berlin here, must be the best behaved dog in the world, unlike mine. And to accompany Berlin, we got Camilo, who can actually talk to us about Residentas. So this rum from Paraguay has a lot of tradition, has a lot of history, but it's also about agriculture and about sugarcane. So, Camilo, welcome to Feeding the World.
Hi, Gabi. It's an honor to be here with you, and it's a pleasure for me to be able to get the world to know a little bit more of rum and more than rum about some of our history with what Residentas can tell about our country, Paraguay.
A lot of the times we don't know where our products come from, what we drink and what we eat come from. So can you tell me where rum actually comes from in terms of agriculture?
Well, there's debate. There's still debate because some people believe it started in Asia, but with what America is involved, it started off in the Caribbean when people when England more most than anybody and Spanish colonies were doing sugar from sugarcane, and they brought the sugarcane to the Caribbeans, and there was always a leftover that we call melaza, molasses, right, in English, and that's like the subproduct of the sugar industry. And what happened was that this mostly slaves that they usually were the workforce of these sugar mills realized that it fermented, and they can actually get a high from that fermented sugar molasses. And so after they realized this, and they began to drink it in different forms and get a good high, for some way of saying, and they at some point they began to distill it, and that's how we get rum, white rum. And the interesting thing is how we got the dark rum, that is the aged rum, is because when from Europe they began to bring different type of wines, they emptied the barrels, the wooden barrels, and in the Americas, and then they put this alcohol and the rum in the barrels, and they went back to Europe. And in that span of time, the wood acted in the alcohol, and we got this dark rum. So that's how we realized that we could age rum in barrels, and that's how that process began. And from more than 200 years to this day, we have this kind of product.
And what's the taste difference between, the different types of rum in terms of taste? What's the difference?
Well, as always, a product that is freshly distilled is going to be very forward in vegetal notes, and fruital notes. And once you pass them by wood, you are going to get a lot of vanilla, caramel, toffee, and all other flavors that are product of being aged. And that's the beauty of it when you, for example, distill a product and it gets the touch of wood, how it balances in some sort of way. And all brands offer different types of rum. Even ours, because we make it from virgin sugarcane honey, that it's not molasses and it's not freshly squeezed sugar use. And that's something that only Paraguay and Guatemala does in a large scale.
Tell me about that again. So from an agronomic point of view, okay, let's go back to the land, because sometimes we are, very detached from that, particularly in Europe, where we're aiming from, or other countries that are not so closely related to sugarcane. So take me back to the land. Where exactly does this come from? What plant and what sort of environment?
Well, it's sugarcane, and sugarcane usually grows very easily between the tropics. That's why we've got them from the tropics, from Cancer to Capricorn, and we are here. We are a tropical country, and it's easy to grow sugarcane. And of course, it was first due for sugar, right? And I believe that Paraguay is probably the largest exporter of organic sugar in the world. And and from that we learned that we can make we can heat this sugar up to a point that it's basically a kind of honey, right?
Okay.
So that's what we call virgin sugarcane honey. Virgin, why? Because it hasn't had a previous industrial process. So most rums in all the world are made from molasses, that is a subproduct from the sugar industry. But in our case, we make the honey, the sugarcane honey, exclusively to make rum.
From the sugarcane straight.
Yeah.
From the sugarcane.
Yeah.
Straight, so it doesn't go through any other.
An industrial process. So that makes the Paraguayan rum special. And I would like to say that it is there's two large brands of rum branches of rum in a way to speak, and that is industrial rum, that is most of the rums that you know around the world, like I don't know if I can say brands or not, but
yeah,
like Bacardi and Captain Morgan, or most rums around the world, Cuban rums, Jamaican rums, they are made from molasses, and that's industrial. And then there are the agricultural rums.
More artisan brands.
No, not necessarily more artisan, but they rums that haven't had an industrial process before. So we are an agricultural kind of rum.
It goes straight from the plant to the product.
To the bottle, yeah.
So this is proper agri-food. So this is properly our product. I like to see where it comes from, because, as I said, a lot of the time, even us Uruguayans, we grow sugarcane, as I was telling you, in the north of the country, in Artias, but the rest of the country is so detached from the production that we cannot work out, what we drink and enjoy, where it comes from. So the agricultural side of it is very interesting. But apart from that, the history behind Residentas, can you tell us where the word comes from, or what the history behind it is?
Oh yeah, I mean, we had we knew we had a great product, and of course that we had to connect with people for them to try out our product, and what best way it is than to share our pride for our history, for our culture, for our heritage, and that's where Residentas play an outstanding role. I myself, I really am attached to how important women were in my life, like my mother, my grandmother, my girlfriend, and they are an important pillar in my life. And I believe that every single Paraguayan can say the same thing about women in their life. And Residentas is a very strong name because it only exists in Paraguay really, because the word in Spanish is for residents, right? Residente. It only exists as an entity, and it isn't a feminine word, and we made it feminine after the one of the biggest wars, the biggest war in South America, that involved Paraguay against Argentina, Brazil, and Uruguay. And and after that war, um, there were almost no men left in our country, almost nothing. So women um, were the ones who took our country and made themselves responsible to for our comeback, because it was almost a genocide. There was almost nobody left. Our language could be lost, but they kept it. They were able to keep our culture and our identity, um, able to withstand that war and be in the place we are today. That we are still like one of the Americas country that has a very autochthonous identity, very connected to its roots, to Guarani and to all the things that make us a different place in South America.
Absolutely. And just a personal note here, I think the three other countries owe Paraguay an apology for that. And as a Uruguayan, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to get involved in this. I think what we did to Paraguay was an atrocity, and I personally feel very ashamed. So I hope this is a way of building bridges, and to say, well, I hope as countries we have a future together, and I hope we can build bridges through trade, through comprehension, and through working together. People who are watching this probably don't know, but they should know what happened to Paraguay in that atrocious war, and how brave these Paraguayan women were and still are, and how they basically stood for the country and how they basically made this country survive. And sometimes they're very low profile today and they don't feature in the news, and maybe the culture here is sometimes very difficult to them, but they still remain, sometimes I think the keepers of those traditions. And I think, to have a brand like this that actually pays tribute to them was one of the reasons why I thought they have to be here. They have to be, how do you say, there has to be a tribute to them somewhere. And I hope we can carry on working with you, because this blends that agricultural side, it brings that tradition, it brings that gender issue, that sustainability issue. And tell me about the export side of it, the business. You say you're at the duty-free shop, and I'm going to be there tomorrow, and I'm so going to buy your new special edition. But what are you doing in terms of positioning Residentas internationally?
Oh, we are currently exporting to Europe, and this year we are going to make our first shipping to Italy as well, and we have everything closing up for our first shipment to Asia, to Japan, and we are always working on it in a low scale, because this is at ends an artisan product, and we do not have like 50,000 bottles just floating there to take up a market. But we always care about quality more than quantity, and that's why we offer a very special product, and that has a story, and that can make stories when we take one and we tell people about this place that you visit, and look what you brought from over there. This is special. I want to share with you. You mean something to me, you know.
It is, and I'm looking forward to taking some bottles to Uruguay. And I think when you give this as a present wherever you are in the world, you're not just taking a bottle of rum. You're just, as Camilo was saying, you're saying to somebody, you mean something to me. You're truly special. and there's a history behind it, a history about, women, a history about a very special country. There's a history about nurturing the earth, and it's a beautiful product, and it's a delicious product that we're looking forward to tasting and sharing with the world. And we're going to be sharing this podcast on Instagram, and we're going to be sharing news about Residentas on Instagram so that you can get in touch with them. So if you want to try it, if you want to buy it, if you want to stock it in your countries, small quantities, it's okay. They can't produce tons. They can't produce, whole containers of it. And that's part of the charm, and it's part of the essence of it. It's a high quality niche product that tells a story about a very beautiful country. So thank you, Camilo, for being here, and I cannot wait to try it.
No, thank you, Gabi, and hopefully we can get people to know more about our product. And of course, when we receive people that are interested in our product, we can make more quantity. Of course, we want to make this available for the whole world, and we are working for it. So thank you for having me, for me and Berlin.
Best behaved dog in the world, I have to say. I just can't imagine mine doing that. I mean, it's been a total start. I'm so glad no cats have appeared during the filming, because otherwise maybe their behavior would have changed. But thank you very much, and take care. Thank you. Gracias.